Yes, peptide bond formation. So the peptide bonds, you know that amino acids in a protein are linked by peptide bond. So to form the peptide bond, this is, see, this R1 is amino acid 1 and R2 is amino acid 2. So the carboxylic group of one amino acid and the amino group of other amino acid are involved in the peptide bond formation. So carboxy group of one amino acid reacts with the amine group of another amino acid and forms a peptide bond, that is CONH. CONH is called as peptide bond, and during this peptide bond formation one molecule is removed, water molecule is removed. Now you can see here, see the COOH and NH2, they become CONH. So this is how a peptide bond is formed in the between the amino acid in a protein. Now coming this, with this we have finished the amino acids. So I told you 20 amino acids are there. Then these 20 amino acids are classified based on different criteria. All the 20 amino acid names we have seen, and the important property called Zwitter ion and isoelectric pH also we have discussed. Now we will move on to the protein chemistry. So protein, if you see the definition of protein, proteins are organic compounds with high molecular weight. Proteins are organic compounds with high molecular weight and rich in nitrogen. Now if you see the composition of proteins, they are all polypeptides of amino acids. Polypeptides or polymers of amino acids which are linked by peptide bond, And as I said, protein, when you have to call something as a protein, they should contain minimum of 50 amino acids in their structure. Now functions of protein, if you see, the proteins are mainly meant for the growth of the tissues, Now classification and properties also we will see about the proteins. See, proteins are classified into different types, mainly 3 types based on different criteria. Again, proteins are classified into different types. Here the proteins are classified based on the composition. Proteins are classified into 3 types. First type is simple protein, second type is conjugated protein, third type is derived protein. So simple proteins, they are made up of only amino acids. No other compound is present, then that protein is called as a simple protein. Now conjugated protein. Now conjugated proteins means they consist of protein and along with the protein some non-protein part is also present. That is called conjugated protein. Now derived proteins. Derived proteins means these are derived from simple and conjugated proteins on hydrolysis. Now see here, simple proteins as I said, they are made up of only amino acids and they yield amino acids only on hydrolysis. These are heat coagulable albumins and globulins. Example for simple proteins, we have albumin and globulins. These are heat coagulable proteins. And heat non-coagulable proteins, as example for simple protein, we have histones. Histones are present in the DNA and they help in condensation of DNA. Now conjugate proteins, see the examples here. Conjugate protein, as I said, it consists of protein part and non-protein part. See here, lipoprotein. Lipoprotein, there is protein part and the non-protein part in lipoprotein is lipids. So lipids are different from amino acids or proteins. So lipoprotein, if a protein is having some lipids in its structure, then it is called lipoprotein. So the non-protein part is lipid. Now glycoprotein is another type of conjugate protein which is having carbohydrates as non-protein. Phosphoprotein, they consist of phosphate group as non-protein. Hemoprotein, heme is the non-protein part. Nucleoprotein, nucleic acid is the non-protein part. Metalloprotein, metal is the non-protein part. So based on the type of non-protein that is present in the conjugate proteins, they are classified like this: lipoprotein, glycoprotein, phosphoprotein, hemoprotein, nucleoprotein, metalloprotein. Likewise, these conjugate proteins are classified. Then the third type of classification in proteins is derived proteins. These are derived from simple or conjugated proteins on hydrolysis. So they can be classified further into primary derived proteins and secondary derived proteins. So primary derived proteins, they are derived from other proteins on hydrolysis by the action of heat, acids, alkalis, or during digestion by the enzymes. So primary derived proteins are produced from other proteins on hydrolysis by the action of heat, acids, alkalis, or during digestion by enzymes. Now, compact structure is lost, but primary structure is preserved in case of primary derived proteins. Example for primary derived proteins, we have proteins and metaproteins. Secondary derived proteins, if you see, these secondary derived proteins are formed from progressive hydrolytic cleavage. Progressive hydrolytic cleavage of the peptide bonds into progressive smaller molecules. So secondary derived proteins, see the examples here: proteoses, peptones, peptides. Proteoses, peptones, peptides. These are secondary derived proteins. Now there is another classification of proteins based on shape. So based on the shape of the protein, proteins are classified into fibrous proteins and globular proteins. Now fibrous proteins, we have examples: collagen, elastin, keratin. Why these are called fibrous proteins? Because the length is more than the width. So they are lengthwise more, and they look like a thread-like structure. So fibrous proteins are thread-like proteins, or these are fiber-like proteins. That is why the name fibrous protein is given. Here the length is more than the width. So they are fibrous proteins. We have examples called collagen, elastin, keratin. Then second type of protein based on the shape is globular proteins. Globular proteins, they are round, spherical, or circular in shape. So, or globular in shape. So that is why they are called as globular proteins. Example for globular proteins, we have albumin and globulin. So collagen, you can see fibrous protein. Collagen is found in the cartilage and tendons of the body. Elastin is found in the elastic tissue such as tendons and arteries. Keratin is another fibrous protein found in hair, skin, and nails. Globular proteins, as I said, they may be spherical or they may be ovoid in shape. These are soluble proteins, relatively low molecular weight, and examples of globular proteins, we have albumin, globulin, and hemoglobin. Then there is another classification of proteins based on nutritional value. So based on nutritional value, proteins are classified into two types: complete protein and incomplete protein. Complete protein means all essential amino acids are present in a protein, then it is called complete protein. For example, complete protein, we have egg albumin and casein, which is present in the milk. Milk protein is called casein. So this casein and albumin are examples for complete protein. These complete proteins are having all the 8 essential amino acids in their structure. Then incomplete proteins, if you see, some essential amino acids are absent in a protein, then it is called an incomplete protein. For example, maize. You take maize, it lacks tryptophan. And rice lacks an amino acid called threonine. Then pulses lack a sulfur containing amino acid called methionine. So some amino acids are absent in some proteins, such essential amino acids. Some essential amino acids, one or more essential amino acids are deficient in some proteins, they are called incomplete protein. Example, maize lacks tryptophan, rice lacks threonine, pulses lack methionine. So in the maize, tryptophan is absent. In the rice, threonine amino acid is absent. Pulses, methionine. All these three are essential amino acids. So these proteins are incomplete proteins. Then classification of proteins based on the functions of protein. So based on the function that is performed by the protein, they are classified as follows. See, structural proteins. Structural proteins, example we have collagen. These structural proteins, they are the structural components of our body, like cartilage, tendons, muscles. They are all made up of these proteins called collagen. So these are part of the structural components. So they are called as structural proteins. Now contractile proteins. There are some proteins which helps in the contraction. You know, we can move our hands and legs and different body parts. These body parts are moving just because the muscles can be able to contract. So such proteins which are helpful for the contraction and relaxation, they are called as contractile proteins. Example for this is myosin. Then catalytic proteins. Catalytic proteins, they are examples we have enzymes. So these catalytic proteins, they are involved in the catalysis of many biological reactions. So enzymes, all the enzymes comes under catalytic proteins. Then transport proteins. So there are some proteins which helps in the transportation of substances in the blood. That is albumin. So albumin is the major protein, plasma protein that is present in the blood or plasma. So this albumin helps in the transportation of fatty acids, then certain drugs and the other compounds also in the body. So those proteins which are helpful for the transportation of different substances are called as transport proteins. Then regulatory proteins means some of the proteins which are involved in the regulation of many biological activities. For example, you take insulin. Insulin is a hormone, peptide hormone, which is produced by the body and helps in the regulation of blood glucose homeostasis. Then genetic proteins. Some of the proteins are associated with the genetic material and they regulate the genetic material organization. Example, histone proteins. Histone proteins are called as genetic proteins, are also called as nucleoproteins. These proteins are also called as nucleoproteins. Then another class under the classification based on the functions of protein is protective immunoproteins. Protective proteins. Some of the proteins, they give protection to the body. Such kind of proteins are called as protective proteins. For example, immunoglobulins. Immunoglobulins are called as protective proteins because they give protection to the body from the antigen or foreign